Pleased to meet you. I hope you guess my name. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard! Shop.bloodwizard.com.
Tickety tack.
Hey, it's Corey at Blue Plate, 3218 Mission Street. Come see us. Meatloaf, fried chicken, deviled eggs, Dollar Olympia beers. We're here every day of the week. We got a garden, and we got smiles on our faces. Come let us make you happy.
What up? This is Dalton Dern, and you're listening to Talkin Schmit.
A little bit of intro.
Yes, this is the moment.
It's cool, like tonight is the night.
I guess we're dancing now.
Talkin Schmit, dude.
Fuck the dog.
I wouldn't say it was fun.
What do you mean, bro? Christian Fletcher's younger brother.
Big Dog's in.
Talkin Schmit.
I'm already not watching.
What do you think, Dalton?
We on? Schmitty.
What are Yuns doing?
That was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my whole life.
I remember that.
It's so much better than Instagram.
We had to hack through a mainframe to get here.
Holy shit.
Frisco icon.
What is happening?
Let's hear it for Greg Swift. Yeah!
Wi-Fi check 1, Wi-Fi check 2.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Chet Childress before I start the show. I got my Yeah Mom gear in the mail. I'm wearing the shirt. And big ups to Chet for being strong and doing what he's doing. Today on the program, I'm hyped. I obviously knew who Dalton was, but Hansi kind of lit the fire on this one where these guys were in his local town and he didn't even know it and they ran into each other. We'll probably hear the story in a little bit, but Dalton, I've seen skating for a long time because he rode for Lifeblood, which is Bryce's company. And then he was in some of the contests when I was filming the Vans Park series. Anyway, long story boring is we are catching up with Dalton Dern today and I'm stoked. Dalton, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell the story? What happened? You guys were like maybe Toad or something told you to go to Grass Valley or?
No, I actually came across Grass Valley a few years ago just on an Instagram. Is it skatable? It somehow like came into my feed and I saw all the rails on there and I always wanted to go. And I actually went there on a celebration trip after I did wall ride melon on Hollywood High 16. And I said to my roommate at the time, Danny Cardenas, I was like, hey, if I land this, it's like, let's go to Grass Valley and celebrate. We'll just have a good time out there. And he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm down. I'll drive. So I ended up landing the trick. And then the next weekend, we're like, all right, let's go up there. And so I had gone up about 3 years ago and kind of just investigated everything and skated a few rails and all that. And then ended up going out a year ago with the Fallen guys, and we got a bunch of good stuff and had an amazing trip. And then we decided to go out again, and we had an amazing time as usual. And we were out there on the trip. I think it was one of the last days. We pulled up to the school. It was like an eight-stair rail. Mark Johnson, 180 nose grinded it. Hansi just ends up coming around the corner. I swear he was doing a manual like it was a movie. Like this dude's just coming around the corner doing a manual. He's like, oh, what's up? And he was super, super sick. I'd never met him before. I heard of him, but right away, like I clicked with him, and him and I were just talking about like Grass Valley roots and all that stuff. And he ended up coming out with us the next spot. I was wanting to skate this brick out ledge that Chris Sin had no slid back in the day. Just legendary, spot and move from him. So I just wanted to get a piece on there. And he came out, the homies, they fired up the music. We had like some joke songs for the trip. One of them was, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. You know how that happens? Like you're on a trip and just some song just becomes like the thing. So that was one of them. So we're blasting that there, and Hansi's firing it up. I can hear him shouting. And I was like, yeah, right here for Chris Sin. And I went for the front board and completely folded, but I was still like super hyped. And Hansi's like, yeah, Christian, legend, like history. Got up, ended up making it the next go, but like the energy was there. It was fucking fired up, like night session that you wanted. So yeah, no, I was stoked. He definitely fucking brought some fire to the trip.
Those are my bros, like Sen, Cardiel's from up there, Toad, Hansi, obviously. Like It's crazy because there's not a lot of cement. There might be more now, but I mean, it's pretty much like right where the snow level is. So you got a lot of snowboarders in that area. And these are some of the best skaters that have ever happened came out of there. I mean, everyone knows Cardiel and Chris Sen, and then Hansi and Toad, they're rippers too. And so it's kind of off radar, I think, for a lot of people. So it was interesting to me that you're just like, dude, Dalton just showed up. Like Hansi was so stoked. But tell me a little bit about your like upbringing. I know you were like you grew up in, or you didn't grow up, but you kind of started in Florida and then moved out west, right?
Yeah, I started skating around like 6, 7, 8, just like with Walmart and Target boards, just going down the driveway and all that, And then once I was like 10 years old, my brother was turning 13 years old. Destin, for his birthday, he wanted to go to the Van skate park in Orlando. It just opened up. So we went there for his birthday, and we all ended up getting hooked on it. I remember going down every single bank ramp there and just wanting more, and eventually wanting to, learn everything else after his birthday because we were so fired up. Then our parents ended up buying us like all like real skateboards. Like I got a Birdhouse board with Grind King trucks, Powell wheels. Then my grandma actually bought me before I even skated that I would just roll around on the ground. So I finally got these wheels I could add to it. And then, yeah, we were hooked. They got us memberships to the Van skate park, and we went there like at least 5 times a week, sometimes 7. Shout out to my parents for driving me over there like as much as they did because the park was like 30 minutes away. So yeah, it wasn't close. Started skating a bunch of little contests first, like whatever would come into town, and then I would hear from other skaters about events, and then Skate Park in Tampa started doing all their events. We got sponsored by like my first skate shop called Vert Skate Shop out of Tavares, Florida. Yeah, just kept skating more contests. I got an Etnies flow. I think that kind of like helped me really feel like I was like starting to go somewhere. Then the Maloof Money Cup kind of happened. This was like the first big contest.
Oh yeah.
And you could send your video in, that's how you like got into it. And at first I didn't think it was going to be like that big of a deal. And my parents were like, no, you should at least like go into it. It's a free trip or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, why not? So I added my videos to that thing, got accepted right away. I think they paid for you to fly out there too. I was like 15 at the time.
Where was that one?
That was in Orange County, I think.
Okay, because they did a bunch. There was one, I think, in Kimberly, Africa. There was one in Washington, D.C.
This was the first one that ever happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they had like the Vert, and they had Vert and Street. Yeah, I skated that. Then I kind of Etnies was like stoked that I was going out to that thing. Then they like they had someone take me over to the warehouse, and they like gave me a tour and all this, gave me all this product and everything, and kind of made me feel like I was like going somewhere or whatever. I was with them for about, for years. I just kept doing the contest thing. I was doing a lot of Vert stuff at the time. I mainly started as a Vert skater, and and I started doing X Games Vert. I got invited to like the Dude Tour Vert thing, all AM stuff. Then when I was about like 16, 17, I kind of started wanting to like street skate more. I kind of got over like the Vert thing and just like travel. And then the Vert, I liked obstacles on Vert ramps, and they started just going to just straight the U. So it kind of just started getting more and more boring to me. And then it was just like going around with the same people and the same thing. And when I started street skating, it was like a new adventure around every corner. And I was playing a lot of Tony Hawk games, and the feeble grind just on rails in the game seemed so sick to me. So I really wanted to go out and learn that trick. And because of that, that made me want to start street skating. And then from there, I just wanted to just do it on like every handrail, and then learn Smith and front 50, back 50, front 50, back 50, and then all these other things. Then started getting influenced by like a bunch of other different street skaters. And then, from there, just kind of did a bunch of flow programs. And then finally I did a Do Tour in Ocean City, Maryland. And that's how I met Bryce, Kanights, and I got involved with Lifeblood Skateboards.
That was the bowl contest?
Yeah. That was the first one they had in Ocean City, I believe. Yeah. They had the big bowl on the beach.
So that's where you met Bryce?
Yeah. I actually met him I'm good friends with Ben Hatchell, and I was hanging out with him at the time, and his team manager was Scott Corner for Dakine, and I had met him, and Scott was actually involved with Lifeblood Skateboards too, and so by him, he was like stoked on me, I guess. And then he was like, "Oh, that guy doesn't have a board company." He's like, "Well, I'm involved with Bryce Kanights company. Like, I'll talk to him and see if he's down. Like, we're looking for another guy." And then Ben had mentioned it to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Bryce. Like, that seems like that'd be a good path." So they all ended up talking, and then I ended up meeting Bryce there, and I was super stoked. And I think right away they flew me to Oregon. I think to film, or no, actually what it was, they ended up having a do tour stop in Portland, and I ended up staying after the contest for like a month. It was like my first big trip, like by myself, like, and staying that long. I think I was like 18 or whatever. And I slept in the warehouse and like a bunch of different homies' couches, and it was a great time. I really experienced a lot of things. I got to, really experience Portland, skated Burnside a bunch. Cody Lockwood, Mason Merlino, and Kevin Kowalski, all those guys would show me their ropes and all that. So it was a great experience. And then after that,
let's slow down for a sec, because you're covering a lot of ground. I want to know some specifics about like, what's your first time to Burnside like? Like, I know you skate tranny already and stuff, but like Burnside's kind of like a special place. And like, are you intimidated by the locals? Is it like kind of rough and weird? Like, what's your vibe when you first get there for the first time?
Man, I didn't even think about it until you said all that, and it really brought me back. Yeah, it was. I was intimidated. Because I don't know, I felt like, a clean cut kid, and all these gnarly dudes are just out here, and like, they want to see some gnarness, and you got to give it to them there. And I remember dropping in, and as soon as I dropped in, it was just so rough, like it was slow, and I was like, damn. And the thing, like, don't push in the bowl. I guess that's like considered like a street course and a bowl. So like no, you can push there. And I didn't know that at first. I thought you couldn't push in there. It wasn't cool or whatever. And the homie's like, no, you can push in there. And I was like, oh, okay. So once I knew that, then I was able to kind of start getting speed. But I would start with like just one line and then work from there, because it was so gnarly. Every time I would try to go over there or over here, it was just like, fuck. So I had to like really like inch my way into that entire place to really start figuring it out. I would focus on this quarter pipe, but it was good because over all the times that I got to go there, I eventually got to put everything together. I feel a lot better there now. So I guess playing the video game was from Tony Hawk when I was a kid, and that was like the whole first thing, like, my interaction with it. And then going there in real life, it's a completely different thing. It's way tighter and everything's bigger and crustier and raw, but I love that place.
Yeah.
They built some more stuff too. We've got to get back out there.
Definitely. No, I know. It's always in progress. It's never done. It's sick. I mean, the locals there too, like the hospitality in Oregon, I think is a little different than a lot of places. It feels when you get to Oregon, and even a little bit in Washington too, that there's just this hospitality thing that's kind of like, I don't know, it's a little less cool guy maybe or something, it's just like, hey, you're here to skate, let's skate.
No, I felt that. I was going to say that too. After I got out of my own head there, everybody is super welcoming and super nice. There are people there that I haven't seen in years that I could go and show up there, and they would remember me too. Like the great guy, a bunch of great guys, Q-Man, rest in peace, Def Paul, Red, Mark Red Scott, he built that place. I got to spend a lot of time around him being on Lifeblood, and that dude is full of energy and full of excitement and hype. Love that dude. Got to ride for his wheel company for a bit, Power Riders. His whole family is awesome.
Yeah, you got to give us a good Red story. You ever been in some hijinks with him?
Oh man, I'd have to think. Just like a bunch of little things. Just or one time we were in Vegas, and me, Mason, and Kevin Kowalski were all wearing beanies, and he's just like, "You guys are psychos," and he just skated away. It was one of those things like you had to be there, but it's just burnt into my brain like. He's like, beanies out in Las Vegas, you guys are psychos, and just like went away.
He's the best. Like, we were at his house one time. I'll share a story with you. We were there before the whole thing burnt down. And it was pretty close to when it burnt down. And he had that swing in his bowl. And I swear to God, the rope was like, it just looked like it was like threading out, like it was going to snap at any time. Like nobody wanted to do the swing. And Red just came flying in and did it like a champ. And everyone's just like thinking it's going to snap, and somehow it doesn't. And then he started shooting the bottle rockets in there and putting on the show. And like, that's what I mean. Like different style people. Like we woke up, we camped overnight in their yard, and she's got like this huge thing of Starbucks, donuts. Like we're already at their place. Like they don't have to take care of us. And that's just the kind of people they are. And I've always loved Red and Danielle and the family. Like they've done a lot together and all that. So, and you get to see some moments where Red really revs it up and you just see like, oh, this is a special guy.
Yeah, they really make you feel at home. I actually just remembered the same story. I actually almost died at his house. So you know how he's got all those dirt bikes and everything. I hadn't been on a dirt bike in years. I grew up on like a little Honda and just rode around my neighborhood or whatever. But so I get on the bike and he's all stoked and everything. We're going, we do these little trails and everything. He's like, oh, you got to do this one. We go up the mountain and it's like this skinny little pathway. And he's like, you got it. You can do it. No problem. Like he just convinced me and like made me feel like I could do this. And I was like, all right. And then I just gun it up this mountain. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to make it. And I'm not. So I have to like super gun it. Otherwise I was going to not make it up the mountain and like fall off the right off this cliff. Or I was going to air up the thing and then hit this wall. And so I'd rather do that than fall off the cliff. So I just gunned it. And I went as fast as I went, and I aired off the mountain, and I went into this fence. That if the fence wasn't there, I would have just fallen off this mountain and maybe died or fucked myself up very badly for sure. And I remember messing my shoulder up pretty bad for a while, but I ended up being okay from that. But I mean, yeah, your chances of dying definitely increase when you're out there.
So is this time where you're in Florida, is this before you've moved west? You're still, I mean, in Oregon, you're still in Florida?
Yeah, I was still living at my parents' at this time, but I was traveling like a lot back and forth. If I wasn't in Oregon, I was somewhere for a contest or filming or staying at someone's. I stayed at a lot of friends' houses and couches for a long time. Shout out to all those people that, helped me and supported me along that way.
Shout out.
So with Bryce and Lifeblood, obviously you link up with Cody and Kowalski and those dudes and probably traveled a lot early with that. That's your crew, right?
Yeah. Mason Merlino had a place to stay out there in Portland, so I would stay with him a lot. And then I met a lot of friends through him, the Roseburg homies, so I would stay with those guys. And then I'd go up and stay with Kevin at his house. He's kind of on the outskirts. And then Cody would just be bouncing around. So I would just go whatever his program was. We're hanging out at Burnside all night. We're hanging out at Burnside all night. Or we're staying in the warehouse, or we're just going to be roaming the streets. It was always a good time. No matter who I was with one of those guys.
We're making a little documentary about Phil Shao, who was like one of the early ATVs in skateboarding. He happened to be one of my friends. And we were just talking about recently, and I wonder what you think about this. Phil was a vert skater. There was no street skating yet, really. And then street skating started, and he became a street skater and just started skating everything. And one of the things we were talking about the other day, because we went to this place, and my friend McKenny, he told me that like Phil had the vert mentality that he took to the skate park and brought that to the street, and it helped him think about like ways that maybe somebody that doesn't have transition skills and that speed and the air and all that stuff, that actually is this whole thing that kind of comes into it. Do you think, can you speak on that a little bit?
Absolutely. I've been feeling this way for a long time, and I'm glad you're bringing up this topic. I'll look at vert skating into street skating all the time, or street skating into vert skating, or I'll even try to explain it to the skaters. Like someone that's street skating and I'm on a mini ramp with them, I'll be like, dude, look at this, like right there, the coping, like it's basically a ledge. It's just got to ramp up into it. You just got to figure out, what works for you, how you backtail on a ledge. You got to figure out like, where am I at? How do I get to that like angle on the quarter pipe? So I totally feel that way. If it wasn't for some vert tricks that I've, learned, then a lot of street tricks wouldn't have came as easy to me, and vice versa with the.
Yeah, I mean, like when Burnquist started putting flat bars and those guys started skating, like off the vert ramp onto the flat bar and then back in, and like you said, putting obstacles. Animal Chin had like all kinds of crazy stuff going on. It's the variety that people want. Navarette always refers to the vert ramp as a swing set because you're just going back and forth, right? But if you take that swing set and put a hip in it and an extension and like some obstacles around, all of a sudden, like, hey, this is a lot funner. You can do all your airs and your back and forth tricks. Skateboarding shouldn't be like 50-50 stall set up for a trick. You want to skate, you want to do something, go into the other thing and just always keep it going. And I think with those options, it just makes it funner and just more accessible to keep your wheels rolling.
People want to be surprised, and with all these obstacles, you never know what's next.
Totally. Who were some of your early influences? Like when you started understanding about skate videos and magazines and stuff, who were the guys that really fired you up?
Tony Hawk was the first skater. Then it would be Bob Burnquist, Bucky Lasik, Danny Way. It was all vert skaters at the time. I actually grew the Vans skate park in Orlando that I grew up skating vert on. I actually got to skate with Mike Frazier and Anthony Furlong for years, and those guys influenced me a lot. Furlong would be doing the biggest Madonna's the tail. And Mike Frazier was doing the most insane lip tricks on the coping at the time when I was a kid. I had no idea what was even going on.
Frazier's, God, he's so good.
Yeah. And after that, I ended up getting my first skate video that I actually got myself. My older brother, Destin, he got Flip, Sorry, and Baker and all these things. But myself, I got the Birdhouse the End video from some store in the mall. And I would just skip it to Tony Hawk and Bucky Lasik's parts at first. And then eventually I started watching the whole video and started getting stoked on Andrew Reynolds and Heath Kirchart and Willie Santos, all those guys. But mainly Heath Kirchart and Andrew Reynolds stuck out to me. So those guys were big influences. I wanted to learn backflips because of Heath Kirchart. And I started watching a lot of the American videos, and then Andrew Reynolds being in that, I was stoked on him in those. Then a lot of zero videos. Got really stoked on Chris Cole and John Alley, all the flip videos too, a lot of 411s. Definitely every time I opened up a Thrasher, anything that was going on there, I was just fired up on. But yeah, all those guys, I would go on YouTube and I would put their name in and I would watch every single video that existed of them until there was nothing else.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Did you discover Tony Hawk through the video game or through skateboarding?
I feel like it was just in your face. I was born in 1992, and I don't know, growing up in the 90s, I feel like it was just in your face. Like Tony Hawk was just on the commercials. He has Tech Deck toys all in the stores, and then the video game was so huge, all your friends have it and everything. And so it was just in your face being a kid growing up at that time.
Mm-hmm. What about is one of the early, I guess it wasn't that early, but it was a little while back, but I just saw on your Instagram, I wasn't there, but I was there the year before, that you did the Hastings Gap.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that, because that was Chalmers, there's some legendary dudes that fly there, and you were the first to go that direction over it, right?
I wanted it that bad, yeah, that day.
It's crazy because I was there the year before, I believe it was the year before, and Rainey was trying it and he launched it and kind of slammed on his head, and it was pretty gnarly. And I feel like maybe Kowalski or somebody went the other way over it, or no?
Kevin ended up doing it the year after me, backside, because he's regular.
Okay,
but
that's what it was.
That Rainey slam, shout out to him for walking away from that. But that was so gnarly.
Shout out.
That definitely was scary. Because, I don't know, I've done a lot of big gaps, but I've never done a gap that big that landed into a bowl that deep. So I was scared of how low I was going to go to it. Once I finally got myself to just go for the entire thing and just jump into the deep end, and I was able to run out of it, I was like, oh, okay, I can take that. I know I can, if I can run out of that, now I know I can stay on my board. And everybody was just going for this thing. It was just, And I just took the one that I had. I was like, whatever, if it's under my feet, I'm taking it. I landed a little bit lower than I wanted to, but it still had enough speed to front side grind after.
There you go. Were you there the year Rainey tried it?
No, that was the previous year. I've only been there that year after, and then the year later.
Okay. Yeah, that was, dude, the thing. Okay, so when Rainey tried it, I was there, and the gnarliest, well, obviously the slam is very gnarly, but the gnarliest thing to me was after they went down and they're like tending to him, they put this ladder from the bowl to the top of the coping, and they're telling him to walk up the ladder. And I'm like, dude, this guy might have a concussion. This guy's not okay. And they're like, yeah, it was insane. And like me and Rhino were like, no, do not do that. Like it was like, here's another accident about to happen. Like it was so crazy.
Dude, they easily could have taken him out of like the 5-foot section.
That's what they ended up doing. But like at first it was just like, what the hell are you guys? I mean, it could have gone really worse. So yeah, it sucks. Like, have you seen some gnarly slams in your time skateboarding? Like ones where it's just like, oof.
Yeah, dude, I was there at the X when Danny Way hung up on the coping, and that whole place went silent. And like, dude, I thought he died.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was just laying there. Were you there for that?
No, I wasn't at that one.
Yeah, I was able to sit like I was kind of like sitting at the flat bottom in the stands. So I saw him go way up, and dude, he was up there for so long, and then he just boom, and he was laying there for a bit, and then he got up, and he was just like, yeah, it was like a superhero got up, and dude, it was insane. I think, and then he went for another run, I'm pretty sure.
He's got to be the gnarliest. He's so, like, the story I heard about him flying over the Great Wall of China too. He like almost broke his ankle the day before, and then he just like fired himself up to do it the next day. It's just like that dude's skateboarding. He's like Evel Knievel, like of our generation on a skateboard. It's Danny Way is definitely in my top 5 for sure. I would say.
I'm a Evel Knievel fan as well.
Yeah. I asked a few people on Instagram to ask some questions, and I don't know who this is, but Mother Moose 69 says Knight Rider room or Coca-Cola room.
Man, I don't know. Probably have to be the Coca-Cola room because I'm the most used to that.
Hey, what do you know? Bing, 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 bing.
And then I got Wally Bin, my friend DeMarcus James. Do you know DeMarcus?
Oh, he rolls. He rips. Yeah, I do. Yeah, he skates. He big frontside airs.
He's got this question for you. Where did you learn 540s, and what's the smallest thing that you've ever done one on?
I think in Germany, I don't really count this because the rotation wasn't that great, but in Germany, there was like this little tiny like quarter pipe thing, and I did like a little early grab spin over it, like probably 450, and then like the rest of it was a revert. But for it to actually count, I've done like 3-foot early grab, like spinners. I think the most legit one that I've done that's small at Woodward West, there's a barrier there that they built concrete up to, and that thing's probably like 4 feet high. I did it like a legit 540 on that one, I feel like. But how I learned it, I actually learned it when I was 12, and I stayed up for many, many nights just watching vert contests of just guys, because I just wanted to see how everybody did their 540s. And I'm telling you, I lost a lot of sleep over this, and this was burnt into my brain. Like, I was so determined to do this. I learned it first over a 4-foot hip early grab, mute, and I would travel it as far as I could because they would cut the spin and make it way, way easier to do. So the first ones I was doing were just early grab, travel 5 over the hip. From there, I did a few more. Probably just did like a handful of them. And then not until I was like 14 on like a 9-foot quarter pipe that actually had some steepness to it, I started trying to flip them. And then I finally I got it after a few days of trying to just get comfortable with the flip. And that was another thing of just staying up overnight and just looking at other guys and how they rotated it. Finally mastered that. I remember my brother filming it, and I like threw my board like Tony Hawk, like I felt like I landed the 900 or something. The next day, I ended up going to my friend's vert ramp and doing it on the vert ramp for the first time. And then my friend actually, he was like, "What? Like you're doing 540s now?" And then he ended up learning it that day too. And then after that, yeah, I just kept doing it on every vert ramp I went to. This is a really good way to learn them is off a quarter pipe onto a bank. You can get really comfortable with any grab or rotation off the quarter pipe onto a bank. So I was doing every vert ramp that I could, and I would do off a lot of quarter pipes onto banks. And then I started, I don't even know how it happened, maybe from like contests of just like, man, I got to do my 540 here, and just like trying to figure out whatever the best quarter pipe was. And I would throw myself to do this trick. I remember just getting so like dirty all the time from just slamming and rolling all over the ground and everything. But it just kind of like came together and happened one day of me being able to do it on the small things. And then people would started noticing I was like trying to do it on small things. Like, hey, 540 that, 540 that. I remember one time somebody was making a joke. They're like, yeah, 540 that curve. And I actually went for it. And I swear I like kind of did it. Like, so that joke gets thrown around every once in a while.
540 guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Were you at the where was that? I think Huntington Beach maybe, where they had a Vans Park series where they said no 540s?
Yeah, that was super lame. That was so lame. Like, dude, like that was insane to me. I skated that contest. I didn't really care. Like when I skated, I dropped in and I was just like, I don't know. We need judges at times, but there's certain times where it's just like, this is just too much in skating. Like that was a huge bummer. Nobody should ever be like handicapped from tricks that they do or whatever, like I don't know. It's not anyone's fault that people can't do a certain trick. I dedicated myself to like learning something, it is what it is. I don't know. Hopefully something like that never happens in skateboarding again. That's pretty lame.
Ben Rayborn did one and then he flipped off the judges.
Yeah, he's a real hero. That's the guy we needed.
Holy crap, I remember that.
Yeah, I love Ben. We'll talk about moving west and like going from Lifeblood. Lifeblood kind of it wasn't that it wasn't successful. I think Bryce was just so tapped out on like he's traveling so much, taking photos, doing all this stuff, and he couldn't give the team as much of himself as he probably wanted to.
Well, yeah, no, he was definitely there for me. I'd talk to him multiple times a week. But yeah, dude, he was so busy. He was always, if he wasn't like with us or dealing with us or talking to us, he was flying, somewhere to shoot photos for X Games Detour or whatever it was, or even he had like random shoots in town that he was doing all the time too. Mm-hmm. But I think what it was is just, we did it for a few years, and everybody on the team was just kind of getting older, and it seemed like everybody was just kind of wanting more out of, everything. And it seemed like Bryce was, getting, having to slow down with it. And it's just, it all ended on good terms, Yeah, from there, super loyal to the company. Definitely was bummed for a bit. I was always stoked on Heroine, always hyped on all of his artwork. Even back when he did stuff with Altamont a long time ago, that's how I first came across all his artwork. And the eyeball boards have always been my favorites. So they came out with their video Earth Goblin at the time. I ended up getting super fired up on that video. And I was with a buddy of mine. He's like, "Hey, why don't you just DM them?" And I was like, I don't know. I was scared to do that at the time. Like I knew, like it was crazy with Instagram. Like I always thought about, wow, you can just message all of these people here if you really wanted to or whatever. But he, convinced me to do it. So I put together this message, and he ended up writing back right away, and I was so relieved, stoked. He just said he had to figure it out, talk to, the whole company or whatever, figure it out. And COVID ended up happening during that time. So he wanted to send me some boards, and then I had to wait for like 2 months, maybe 3, for him to get boards back in. So I was like, oh, like I was like in my mind, I was like, oh, I think I'm like gonna get hooked up by this company, but I don't know. So it was like this whole thing, and then finally I got the box, and I was so stoked. It was like the best Christmas ever.
I love Foss. He's the dude.
Yeah, dude, he's such a real dude. He's a skate rat too, and I love all skate rats because I'm a skate rat, and it's what I need. You know, my brain is skating.
Were you already on Fallen before Heroine?
Yeah, I actually I was getting America Flow at the time. They're like kind of through my shop sponsor at the time. Fallen, they did their reboot, and my brother Kanan used to ride for them, and so they hit him up, and he was doing Vans Flow at the time, and then they asked if I wanted to be part of it, and I was just like, yeah, I'm down, dude. I've always loved Fallen. Want to try something new. Like I've been doing Soul Tech for a long time, so I would just be down to go for a different avenue and see what happens there. So yeah, I ended up getting boxes during the quarantine. I was actually in Florida at this time. I had a broken foot for like a year pretty much. Then I just kept skating, so it just like didn't heal. They were just kind of just sending me flow boxes during the quarantine and everything. Then I ended up coming back out to California. They were out of Oceanside, and the team manager lived down the hill from me, Will Owens. So I was able to go meet up with him like all the time now, and he shoots photos. And then the filmer, Kevin Marquez, he's over in SD, and then I started filming with him a bunch, and just starting getting involved with the team. And then I got to go on my first trip with all the guys to Vegas. Chris Cole was on it, Tommy Sandoval, Billy Marks, Zach Doling, Christopher Height. So yeah, I don't know. It felt cool to. I was like, oh, this is like the real deal. Like Chris Cole's on this. Like this is insane. Then yeah, just kept. Then a video has been in the works over the last few years, and super excited to finish that. I've been working really hard trying to finish this video part for Fallen.
Yeah, that one. Maybe it was your intro clip or something, but you got an airwalk down some stairs as the ender.
Yeah, that was my first Vegas trip.
That's like shout out to Lizard King.
yeah. Dude, he actually inspired me to do those. I used to do scare walks because of him down big stuff. And then I was like, I want to do the airwalk. So I had to like relearn how to do that. And now I don't even I could probably do the scare walk if I wanted to, but it'd be a lot harder because I've got back used to the airwalks. I actually got another trick on that spot that same day that I'm saving for my part.
Nice. What kind of ETA are we looking at? Is there a deadline or no? Is there a deadline or anything?
The end of the year or sometime in January, but it'll probably come out right before that.
Okay. So you think we're gonna have a full part from Chris Cole?
It's gonna be like an AM video.
AM.
And some pros will have some tricks in it.
Nice, man. That's cool that they brought that back. Like those dudes you mentioned, I love Billy Marks and like some of those. Yeah, that brings back some good memories. Let's talk a little bit about the Dern brothers. It's kind of a brand, with your YouTube channel and everything. Like, were you guys competitive at all, or were you guys always homies? Like, how did the three of you guys kind of evolve and then into this YouTube production stage?
Dude, it's insane. It just kind of happened, and we didn't think of it to be a brand, but it kind of just turned into that, which is insane. All these things that are made. It still trips me out to look at all of these things. Destin always filmed. He always had a camera and he always edited. He's been doing that for his whole life. And then Kanan, he always kind of had a camera on the side. I would kind of mess with it here and there, but I never really liked to be the filmer guy. I always liked just skating. Probably right after quarantine, I think my brother Destin, he got this job with this YouTuber, Ross Creations. So that got him into the YouTube world. And I never watched YouTubers before that, but then because he started working for this guy, I started watching these videos. So then I started getting into that world kind of. And then because of the quarantine, when we did that video, that kind of put us on the map as creators. So the energy kind of already started building from there. And then, so my brother being with that YouTuber, it inspired him to want to do his own channel. So he was doing that for about 6 months, and then me and Kanan would kind of help out here and there. Then eventually we're like, hey, like let's all three like go in on this one thing and see like what this can do, because like we all can bring something to the table. So like, let's get it going. And then eventually, yeah, we got it started, wrote down all these ideas and all these things, and it just kind of started taking off from there. We a lot of videos like we just have to come up with something, because every week you got to have a video. And then like, yeah, you get a lot of negative comments in the beginning, and then you get your fans too. So, thank you guys for the ones that were supporting right away. Then eventually it started taking off, and then the opinion started changing, and then the stoke was there, and yeah, now we're hyped. Now we got this thing here, and we're just trying to keep the fire going for everybody, and keep it real, and keep it skating, and keep the stoke, and give people what they want.
What do you think some of the important things to do are? Like, because I've been struggling with this. I started doing the podcast just audio only, and part of it was because I didn't want comments. Like I see comments on everything we do at Thrasher, and I just wanted to have something where it was like, I know that if this is good or bad, and that's all I need. But slowly but surely, people start saying, hey, you should put this on YouTube. So I start doing it. And of course, you get the negative comments with the good. And like you said, and some of the negative ones will stay with you for a minute. And some of them you'll just realize they're idiots. And then some of them you just are numb to and you don't care. I feel like for you guys, and I could be wrong, but the video where your brother went viral with the Joker probably helped get a lot of attention.
Well, Kanan did that Joker thing before the quarantine and before YouTube and all that. Definitely, yeah, that definitely helped boost him. And then because of him doing all of that, the barracks Chase actually hit him up and was like, hey, you guys, you want to film like a quarantine type edit or whatever? And he was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. We've always wanted to do like a big project here. So then we worked on this whole thing, and I think they expected it to just be this little like piece on just our ramp, but we just went crazy with it, and we went all over the entire property. But yeah, I don't know. Well, and then I don't know. I had kind of built my career a little bit, so you definitely I do notice like if for a long time it felt like, oh, like does any of this stuff I'm doing even matter, And then one day, now it feels like it does. Like all of these little things, are coming back to life. Like the Hastings Gap that we were just talking about. Like that happened years ago, and no one's even talking about it. But now that I have this platform, I'm able to bring these things back to life. As far as the comments go, I go through phases of looking at them, and then I go through phases like I've gone months without even looking at them. When I do, yeah, you'll get 100 like happy comments, and then you get that one negative comment from that terrible person, and it does bother you. To me, like, I don't know, if you don't have anything good to say, then don't say anything. Like we need a safe space on the internet for our future children. So like let's like have some good role models here, and show the world how we all should be if we can.
It's interesting. I just feel like there's a lot of different things. Like, do you guys do the reels and the stories and different things, or are you just a program that you do consistently? Or like, what kind of things would you say are the most important that you've learned through the YouTube process?
Destin's doing it all. I make suggestions of what videos like that he should do. Like I was like, hey, I told him, I was like, hey, I think the Hastings Gap would be a good one. Like, you haven't posted that, right? He's like, no. And I was like, all right, sick. So he went and he got every angle from every YouTube video that was out there of that year, and then looking for my trick in it. And then he put that all together and cut it with all the guys, with Alex Chalmers and Sluggo and everything. And then he does the reels. The reels are definitely important. Those take off. Posting a few times a week. Once you get there's all these rules. Like once you get monetized, like the video's got to be a certain length. Then there's all these things go into it. It's just definitely keeping it real, keeping the audience stoked, giving them what they want. We try to make it like an episode instead of the just the talking thing all the time, like, or whatever, we're doing Patreon. It's just all these things that go into it. We're doing the Instagram too. The Instagram, we got a post on there, build up on there. He posts on Facebook now too. All these things that they bring it together. So you got to really do every avenue you can to get all these eyes, and then slowly they all start coming together, and it's insane. The last 3 times I've gone to the airport, random person comes to me, hey, you're the Dern brother, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, what up, man? Like it's fucking crazy. I was at Woodward the other day, and I got in with my homie Lottie. I was skating around. This kid yells at me, and he's just like, hey, you gotta have a helmet. And then over there, I was like, oh, I actually left my helmet or whatever. And then he was just like looking at me kind of weird. He's like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to yell at you. Like, I was like, yeah, you got an extra one? He's like, oh yeah, here you go. And then my homie like talked to them after because he saw that. And then he's like, oh, I saw that was the Dern brother. Like, he's good. And then I went inside the Woodward place. And I was like, oh, like, I hope I don't get kicked out of here. I really want to skate that like mega ramp thing. And then I go and I try to skate it. And they're like, hey, you can't go on the biggest rolling. And I'm like, all right, like, can I go on the small one? Like, all right, I guess. Like, I go on the small one. And then the guy's like, hey, you're the Dern brother. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, can I go on the big one now? He's like, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's definitely coming with a lot of benefits.
Fuck yeah. I'm kind of a one-man army here. But I started doing Monday mornings. I've been doing this live like 30 to 40 minutes with different people. And I'm just out on the street kind of drinking my coffee and trying to like figure out a way to stoke people out for the week, because Monday is a tough day. And so sometimes I think like, hey, if you have something to look forward to, maybe that'll help you,
Yeah, for one person to do it would be insane. I don't know. Even just what Destin has to do on his own is like 3 or more people's jobs.
Yeah. Well, you get a little rhythm, I think. And then it's like Tuesday night, you do this, Saturday morning, you do this. And like within a week, you can build this whole thing on your spare times and whatever. But, just like if you get a blowout tire, all of a sudden you got to dip into your bank account. One last thing with that, you guys have the thumbnail, you switched it, right? Was there a cease and desist from Mario Brothers or something?
No. All right, so we just did that logo for last year during Halloween for the Hellbomb. We were all the Super Mario Brothers, and then we came out with like that video. So it was just like kind of Super Mario Brothers themed. And then that logo we just ended up keeping for like way too long. And then all these other people like hit us up and like, hey, we'll do this logo. I'm like, yeah, we're stoked. Like, it's good. Very thankful for all these things. But I always wanted our own original logo, and so did Destin and Kanan. And so eventually we this artist from Activision, he worked for them. He hit us up, and he got us that original logo now. So that's why we got that one. And it was just the time span just took too long to figure out, because we just got so many things going on that like that ended up being last on the list.
You guys ever get any, like, is there etiquette or anything with filming? Because I know that you guys use, footage from all these different people that maybe, like, I don't know, is there people that get angry? Like, hey, I filmed that. You can't just use that and that kind of thing.
Well, we've only had one person out of the millions or whatever that has been upset with it, and my brother has tried to explain it to him that like we are crediting people as much as we possibly can, and we are even more now. So now with the videos, we're putting what video it was, the skater and the filmer. It's an informational video, so we're just trying to get everything out there. This is for skateboarding and for skateboarding history, and all the ones that are going to continue to do it. And we do want to update videos too eventually, like, when more and more tricks happen, because skating just keeps going. Yeah, giving credit is a big thing to us. That's mainly why, like, we include everybody, even if you did, the worst trick ever, like Benihana, shove, whatever your trick you think is gross, like down, whatever, we're still going to include it, because each person deserves like their time to shine if they did something on it, instead of like all these videos that have came out for so long, just include whoever's name is important at the time. and there's so much more to cover. You know, skateboarding is a big community that all of us are a part of. So if something happened, it deserves to be shown.
Do you have one of your episodes that you're most proudest of? Like if someone was like, oh, I never checked it out, which one would you suggest they watch?
I really liked the episode with the Encinita sign just because it just kind of happened, which a lot of the times these videos, like we have the idea, but we don't know like what we're going to do. And then it just kind of happens. So like we went to the Encinita sign. I literally just woke up, went in the car, didn't even have a coffee. We like said all the tricks and everything. And then my brothers just kept pressuring me to try to go off the sign. I'm like, dude, I don't like, if somebody's already done something like that, like I'm like, oh, dude, I'm good. Like it's been done. But if it's like something that's like, it's never been done and I feel like I can do it, I'm like, oh yeah. But if it's if it's already been done, whatever. But it just kept pressuring me more and more. I was like, all right, whatever. I go get my board. I'm like dropping down on the little part. And then finally I like go up there and they're convincing me to like go off it. And I'm just like, they hyped me up and I ended up doing it. And then we just felt like the stoke was there. We get Bam to do an interview on it, Colby Raha to do an interview. That's like one of our most popular videos. If it's not that, it's the El Toro video. That video, it could just feel the magic of like being with my brothers and the skating and like what it's all about. And I think, yeah, that one did really well for us. So I would say that one.
We're kind of wrapping up. I have like this little small section called This or That I want to throw at you. Okay, we always start with pie or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Grind or slide?
It really depends on the obstacle, but I guess I'll say grind.
Rap or reggae?
Rap.
Orlando or Oceanside?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say Orlando.
Xbox or Nintendo?
Yeah, Nintendo for sure.
Smith grind or lip slide?
Smith grind for sure.
Eggplant or frontside invert?
I've only done 2 eggplants, and I've only done crappy frontside invert under the coping, so I would say eggplant. But I've been wanting to go and like master the front invert.
Okay, and then DIY, Washington Street or San Pedro?
Washington Street.
Washington Street, shout out to the 25th anniversary.
Shout out.
People have ripped that place.
Dude, Chris Russell's my favorite though. He rips that like no other.
He killed it for sure. What's like, without doing too much brain surgery, what's like the gnarliest thing you think you've been at to see live in person? Like what's one of the, not the slam Danny Way took, but like something that like went down, like a really good, like, oh my God, Chris Cole, Blizzard Flip Wallenberg, I was there for that one.
My brother Kanan, he grinded a 18 flat 18.
Damn.
And that was pretty unreal. Yeah, it's gonna be in his next zero part. That was definitely, I think that's the gnarliest trick I've ever seen. I've seen Kevin Kowalski do some pretty incredible like loops, like a handful of them. I would just say, yeah, Kanan has just done some of the most insane things.
Here, 18 flat 18. Wow.
Yeah, 18 flat 18. I don't know if anything was crazier than that. That was pretty unreal. Yeah, wait till you see this thing. I think, yeah, there's a photo in Thrasher or Sequence or something. He had to have like wood right away, and it's like down a hill. So he like landed pretty much into a bank off an 18 flat 18.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
Swamp Fest is insane. You can go there and see a handful of insane things back to back to back.
Yeah, you've been at that?
Yeah, 3 years in a row. I get
that looks crazy.
My elbow is still messed up from that place.
You were there the year Chris got hit in the eye?
Yeah, I actually almost got hit by the same person that threw the mortar or whatever at his eye. They threw it at me and my girlfriend. Shout out to my girlfriend, Jackie.
Shout out.
I wore goggles the entire time last year.
See, that's what I was telling him. Is like, just put, like, you could even get Oakley or somebody to sponsor the damn thing. Like, hand out goggles to everyone, and then still have fun.
Pit Viper actually did sponsor the event, and the homie was just walking up with all of the goggles, and then that happened right before.
When were you born?
August 31st, 1992. Virgo.
There you go.
My girlfriend's a Scorpio.
Since it's Olympic time, what do we think? Like, what's your impression of the Olympics? What's your beliefs in it? Like, is it good or bad for skateboarding? Is it to each their own? And like, what do you think is right with it, and what do you think's wrong with it?
Well, I actually wanted to watch it. I didn't get to because I've been traveling and just life has just gotten in the way of it. But I think it's a good thing. It seems like people are more accepted to skateboarding now. I've noticed going out and street skating, people don't freak out as much anymore. They don't kick you out. They understand more. There's more and more commercials with skateboarding. More and more skate parks are being built, and I think it's because of the Olympics, because it's being taken more seriously. So, like, I don't know, all the people that are complaining about it, like, it's really not even affecting them that much. It's only going to make it better for us. It's like, guys, we still got it. Like, there are so many genres of skating now. Like, those are the Olympic guys. That's the Olympic field. Like, we still got our core street skating, and we got it all. So it only helps more, and we need something like that. We need the top of the line. It is, skateboarding being judged, I definitely have mixed feelings of, because nobody could ever really judge skateboarding, because everybody is good in their own way, and there's so much different things to judge on. So I don't know, as long as they're doing it right, like they got the best judges that they feel is good, and whatever, like, stoked that we can have some of my friends are in that, and I'm very stoked for those guys that they're able to be there and have that opportunity. It's amazing. So I don't know. Yeah, no, it's good. And then, I mean, yeah, it's lame too, for sure. It's scary, it's weird or whatever, but so is the X Games and all that other stuff, and everything in general. It just, skateboarding, it's got to keep evolving. That's what it is. That's what it's about, the evolving.
Yeah, for me, the mixed message to me is that I'm in discussions where I hear that skateboarding is kind of dying, and some of the smaller companies are really struggling, and like people aren't able to advertise as much in the mag and this and that. And at the same time, you got Zoomies and you got the Olympics and you got these big things. And so part of me wonders, like, are they taking from things that like the people that are here for it aren't getting? Like, Nike gets stuff from everything. They don't need skateboarding, but Heroine does need skateboarding. You know what I'm saying? So those are the areas where I tend to be like, And then, is skateboarding really dying? Because I see it everywhere. Does that mean that people are just not buying from skate shops and they're only buying from like bad distributors or online? Like, I don't know what it all means, but
that's the problem. I don't think it's dying, but it's up to us to keep the real stuff in skating going. And a lot of these brands, they sponsor so many friends of mine and other people I see, and they don't do anything with them. They just treat these kids like billboards and make them think that they're going to go somewhere and never give them any money or anything. It's so messed up.
Well, here's my John Lennon imagine moment of the podcast. Imagine all these big companies getting into skateboarding with lots of money. Imagine them starting a nonprofit organization that collected money to give to all the people that are no longer pro anymore, that gave all their life to skateboarding and that are having tough times, whether it be addiction, whether it be insurance, or just like not able to make ends meet. Like, there's some legendary people in skateboarding that paved the way for us. And imagine if we had something to give back to them in their later lives. That's what I think that really Nike, Louis Vuitton, whoever, they should be looking into something like that. And that would give them a lot of street cred in our world.
And the world will live as one.
Yeah, no, 100%. I've talked to other skaters about things like that too. I feel bad for a lot of these guys that are just like, they got all mixed up in the skate world, and now they're just back into life trying to figure it out. My whole thing is, like, the bigger I get with my platform, I want to give back to as many skaters as I can with whatever I can do, whether it's getting a skate park built in another country and getting all these sponsors to throw boards and shoes to all these guys, and get a food sponsor and just get it dropped off, whatever I can do when I get there, like, I could do it. I like that dude, Mr. Beast on YouTube. He's like finally giving back. He's building homes in Africa and building all those water holes and all that. So, yeah, I don't know if I can give back. I want to, go to skate park everywhere, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Sick, dude. Yeah, let's keep it positive. I think we got to. There's a lot of negativity out there, and it's easy to get brought down into a lot of different directions. But if we have that mentality already set up that we're trying to do something positive, can take us a long ways and help promote all the people and things we're about, and that's a good thing.
That being said, too, if all skaters like on the internet can all try to be more positive too, like that would go so much further.
You want to get into that because that's going to take 2 more hours of our time. The thing I would say about that is nobody has it's what I call anonymous animosity. It's you don't have to show your face, you don't have to give your name. No one knows who you are, and you can say the most fucked up thing you've ever said, and that is something that should not be possible.
Every time I try to get out, they pull me back in.
I like the idea that Facebook is, at least it has some form of like, who this person is. My dog is pissed about it too. I don't know if you can hear her, but she hates the fucking comments, the slap message boards. And, I always say Timmy in Nebraska down in his mom's cellar. He's never even left the house in 40 years. And he's just so disgruntled that he has to talk shit on somebody 40 times a day. The number one thing that I've learned through all this is, why would you care about a comment from someone you would never ask advice from?
Yeah, I know. That's what sucks too. It's these people, they try to get into our world, into our mind, and say whatever they want. The thing that I hate is when someone tries to be like sarcastic, cool guy on the internet, and then you like call them out, and they're like, "It was a joke" or whatever, and it's just like, dude, that was not a good joke. And then what's great now is I've had people like actually go in, like I don't even have to like defend myself, because people actually go on there and defend for me. Thank you guys for that. Like you guys are fucking so real for that.
See, and that's when you kind of feel like you've done a good service, is when you've built up this people that they can stick up for you. You don't have to be one against the world and be like, hey, let this guy tell you, like, he knows what I'm about. Like, you don't know that. So get out of here. People want to be the industry insider. Like, did you hear Chris Cole's back on Fallen? I'm the first one to report it. And it's like, that comment first.
What the fuck is that?
I need to chill out and let the ones that are actually like, involved in it do it. Like,
this is something I don't really want to end the whole show with. So I want to say, I love your flames. I love the dartboard. I used to be pretty good at darts back in the day at the 500 Club. Let me tell you, few beers and a few darts. That's how we'd roll.
Oh yeah, no, this is we got a whole mini bar in here, and
a little table. Show and tell, huh?
Yeah.
Oh damn, nice.
Yeah, this is the hangout room.
Well, do you want to give any shout outs or like say your sponsors or anything to end this on, to like give the people like links or anything? Like, obviously, is it youtube.com Dern Brothers is where they can find it?
Yeah, Dern Brothers.
Or Dern Bros, is it BROS?
Yeah, bro. Either one will come up. Dern Skateboarding, Dern Bros. Dern Bros right here.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if everybody could go and subscribe to that would help me out a lot. Shout out to my girlfriend Jackie.
Shout out.
Hope you feel better. She's sick right now. I've been taking care of her. Shout out to my mom and dad for everything they did for me to help me get to where I am.
Shout out.
Shout out to my brothers for being there for me, and
shout out.
I love those guys and my whole family. And to my sponsors: Heroine, Fallen, Independent, Mob, Pit Viper, Bones Love Milk, Hub Bearings, A-Tech Recovery, Galactic G Skate Shop. I think that's it. I hope I didn't forget anybody. But yeah, no, thank you guys. I couldn't do it without my sponsors, without a great supporting, loving group, without the fans, all of you guys. Thank you so much. I never thought I'd be in this position. Years ago, I thought my career wasn't going anywhere, and I'm so thankful to where I'm at now. And every day I wake up so happy and motivated to just keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm really excited to share what I got for the future.
Fuck yeah, dude. Sick. I'm going to give my shout outs real quick. I want to shout out all you that are watching this. Yes, please hit the subscribe button. Tell some people, let's grow together. I want to give a shout out to Watermelon. I've been eating you a lot lately.
Shout
I want to give
out.
a shout out to Kevin Braun, who brought me a sick bag of popcorn this week that I've never had before. It's kind of barbecue style that just that's so good. A little snack at the work spot while I'm editing.
Shout out.
Hyped on that. And thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it so much. And your guys' story with Hansi is just, for me, that it just tickled me because Hansi kind of like went off radar for a minute and he's been back and he's been skating a lot and he's so passionate about it.
Yes, now we're back.
And the phone call he gave me right after he ran into you,
hit the payphone, what up?
It will give you goosebumps, like how stoked he was and just what it meant to him to see you guys in his town and then get to go on a session and try some fucking gnarly ass rail going Mach 40. He was like, dude, that meant a lot. And that's the kind of stuff that skaters need to keep doing for other skaters. We need to just keep the stoke going. So props to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, no, he was full of the energy that you needed. That guy on the session that's just like, like you can hear him when you're in the back of the run up, So
sick.
That's what it's about. That energy and skating, that's the ultimate high right there. It doesn't get better. There's no drug, nothing can get you that than skateboarding and your friends.
Well, have a great day, man. And yeah, I'll see you probably in a week or whatever.
Sounds good, man. Thank you again. Look forward to it.
Okay, take care.
Later.
And now, a word from our sponsor, Oro Coffee. That's some damn good coffee. Order 1 or 6 bags at orocoffeeroasters.com.
Y'all like music? Because you're listening to SMFM.
What's up? What's up, you fancy meat bags? You bags of meat? You freaks? I mean that in the best possible sense of these words. And you're looking at now. What happened to then? We passed it. When? Just now. All right? This week on SMFM, I bring you the song Time to Shine by the musical group Twaniz, a.k.a. Tony Roberts. Story about Tony Roberts I'll tell you after we watch this video that will take you to paradise.
It's time to shine and open up your mind. These are the days, time now, for every wave that you ride. Give thanks, it's time to feel the wave. Yeah! It's time to shine and just clear out your mind. Just look within. Hey, the magic is here in the now. Take it. It's all about your mind. Yeah. Find stay fluid, flow, center, show, prime, time to shine. It's time to shine and just open up your mind. The feeling, it can't be stopped. Off the bottom, off the top, You know where you need to be. Follow your heart and be free.
Twan is time to shine. Tony Roberts is Twan is. Tony Roberts, may I add, made Speed Freaks. Alright, I graduated high school in 1992. Been skating over 35 years, and his skate videos really molded my taste in music and shit, all that shit. And if you told me, watching Speed Freaks when it came out, that I would be hosting a webisode on a podcast, well, first of all, I would have been like, what the fuck is a webisode and what the fuck is a podcast? But sharing a video by the one and only Tony Roberts, who made these epic Santa Cruz videos back in the day, and then some. Anyhow, live life to its fullest. Create, make, ride, love, live, all that. You got me, meatbags? Don't just be a meatbag. Sucking up air. Contribute to society. And affect someone in a positive way. You never know. You never know where the ripples you're pebbling upon is going to reach. Pebbling upon. Boop, boop, boop. I love you. SMFM. I'm Talkin Schmit. Let's hang out.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Talkin Schmit. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications every Tuesday of new episodes the minute they become available. Also, please leave reviews and a 5-star rating. It's the best way to help the show grow. All of the episodes will always remain free, but if you would like to help support the show, you can do so at TalkinSchmit.com, where you can pick up some merchandise like t-shirts, beanies, hats, and stickers. The website has an entire archive of all of the episodes, with extra photos and videos. Email us with any suggestions, comments, or ways that the show may have improved your life at TalkinSchmit@gmail.com. All interviews are conducted, edited, and produced by Schmitty. The intro music is Mary's Cross by the band Nature. A very special shout out goes to the executive director, Sharal Camisa.
Shout out.
Love it! This is Talkin Schmit, where the Rolodex is deep, but the conversation is deeper.
Keep the wheels greased.